Hi everyone and welcome to Property Insight Market Update for June 2025. My name is Neil Harding.
And my name's Mark Ashworth.
We're going to be talking about everything from interest rates to mortgage products to rent increases to house prices and everything in between. Stay tuned.
So market update for June 2025. Things are looking like a buyer's market, Neil. We've done some research on Rightmove's website and it looks like house prices are not really moving that much at all. There seems to be quite a lot of stock. Houses that are priced keenly will be those that sell the quickest.
Yeah, we were talking about this, weren't we, just a few weeks ago, and it's really felt to me as an investor that through 2025, we're halfway through 2025 now, it's felt like a steady market. You know, a steady year so far. There's not really, people aren't clambering to buy, people aren't rushing to sell, things are ticking over, but there's not really an awful lot out there that, flying off the shelf at a top dollar price. If anything, it does feel like a buyer's market. There are opportunities to buy and invest.
I think actually this is a really, really prime time to be buying. We spoke about it before on our channel with regard to the sort of silent property crash, meaning that everything in the world's gone up in price except for houses, which is quite unusual when there's very high levels of inflationary periods. So that seems a little bit odd, and many of the social medias and the news channels aren't really talking about house prices, mainly because they haven't gone up. But actually they've gone down in real terms when you adjust for inflation. Rents have been steadily increasing with inflation, but house prices not so much. I think that if you're a property investor and you're looking to invest and you're thinking, when's a good time? Shall I wait? Shall I wait? The answer would, from my opinion, would be definitely get out there and start looking and buying. There was a bit of a spike back in, and we can read this, if you Google it, you can find out that there was a bit of a spike with house sales in March time, but that was due to the fact that there was going to be a stamp duty change in the new tax year. So people were trying to get things over the line before that happened. Obviously now there is a slightly higher stamp duty threshold come back in. I think they've reintroduced or reduced the threshold back down to 125. I think it was at 250. So there's a change there for all buyers. Investor buyers are still slightly put off by the higher rate of stamp duty that you have to pay for second homes. But if you're buying for the long term, that largely pales into insignificance if you're buying for long-term holding stuff, really.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, the stamp duty point? And I mean, this was it back in October, November 24 that the surcharge in the budget statement went from 3% to 5% of the purchase price for buyers, for investors, or anyone with buying a second home. There was some conversation at the time as to whether or not that would deter investment. It might have slowed investment, but ultimately it's a number on your spreadsheet when you do your deal analysis, isn't it? So as far as I'm concerned, the deal works or it doesn't, and eventually prices will adjust accordingly because the market finds its market point.
And the thing is, if it's a buyer's market now, you can negotiate prices down to make sure that you're getting good deals. I've had conversations with people that are finding good deals. You've been finding good deals. And there really is plenty out there to look for. So you just need to get out there and start looking. I mean, I'm on lots, so I have lots of alerts set up on my Rightmove to send me details about properties that are coming on the market. And interestingly, I seem to be seeing a lot of alerts coming through where property has been reduced. It's come on and I thought, it's a bit pricey. And then, give it 3-4 weeks and then you get another email and the property comes back and it's reduced and you think, oh, okay, yeah. So my instinct was that it was a little bit high. So get out there and start doing some viewings, guys, and start getting yourself some deals. Base rate stayed stable on the last meeting. I think it was a couple of weeks ago as at the time of recording. That stayed steady.
Bank of England met in this month, didn't they, June 2025, and decided to hold the interest rate at the same level. I think there was some discussion as to whether or not they might decrease it, but I think the newsworthy piece of that was that they were talking about dropping the rate perhaps slightly earlier than they had previously thought for later this year. So I think they're now talking about August as being a possible rate drop.
I mean, I guess it's going to depend a little bit on, I mean, I don't know whether they look at the housing market as part of that decision. I'm not sure whether it's just the greater economy. I'm not sure what influences their decision there, because there's lots of information from all sources about how well the economy is doing in the UK. Obviously, GDP and all that sort of stuff everything's very, very flat at the moment, generally.
I think inflation was a tad higher than they had expected and wanted, and still higher than their long-term target of 2%. So I think they were a bit reticent to decrease the rate just yet. But I think that's still the direct. They've also said in parallel with that, though, that the direction is still that they will be decreasing it.
Yeah, so for those of you that are organising mortgages, it might be something that you want to hold on to. I think a lot of lenders have factored in that, you know, by the end of this year, they were expecting rates to be lower anyway. Some brief research on some current rates for limited company buy-to-let products at 75%. The Mortgage Works, one of the biggest lenders in the UK, which obviously is owned by Nationwide, their current rate is 5.44% on a 5-year fix. That's with no fee, so it might sound a little bit high, but a lot of the lower fees that get the headlines sort of like 3 to 5% have got big sort of 3, 4, 5% arrangement fees, which they typically add to the loan, or you can pay in advance if you want to. Just the ones without the fee at 5.44 gives you an idea of the sort of the real interest rate that you'd expect to pay on a.
It's more like the real cost of borrowing the money, isn't it? Because it doesn't get muddied by 3% product fee or £3,000 product fee or £5,000 product fee or whatever it might be, because they all chop and change, but it gives a good idea.
But rents have continued, certainly within the last 6 months, have continued to be steady and continue to increase with inflation. So I think that if you've got tenants in situ already and you've had tenants for a while, it's a good idea to review those rents just to ensure that they are around the market rate.
The Renters' Rights Bill, there was some thought that would be law and passed by Parliament by the summer of 2025, so now, for quite some time. It got some real momentum going through various readings in Parliament. I think now it's looking more likely it will be law by the end of 2025, almost certainly. But you know,
who knows?
Yeah, but it's not going to be in the next month or two anyway. You know, there's a lot of momentum behind it, and it looks like the government are pushing that through with very few amendments from the House of Lords. From what they were looking at it, from the queries that they've raised, doesn't look like it's going to really be changed that much. We did a series of videos on this that are already on the YouTube channel that you can have a look at with Steve Mitchell. We've gone through quite a lot of the different aspects to it and our take on that. It's going to be very impactful. You know, it's going to have a lot of consequences. There'll be a lot of different ways that you're going to have to adjust your onboarding of tenants, the contract side of things, tenant rights, obviously, which is all about, eviction notices, how notices can be served, whether or not it's okay to take rent up front or not. It's not. All these things will make a massive difference to the way that we do business as landlords. And then how's Angela Rayner getting on with her 300,000 house building target for the year? Is that going to happen? Does anyone think that's going to happen? No. I don't. No. At no point did I ever think that it would happen, but I don't think it will.
So where I live, just down the road here, there's been a development supposedly being built for probably the last 5 years. And they've only literally just started putting bricks on the ground. I mean, absolutely crazy. If you've got any comments of your own, we'd love to hear from them. Please make some questions or some comments below. Obviously, like and share the content, and please subscribe to the channel. We would very much like to bring you more content like this. And we hope you found the video insightful, and we'll see you next time.